Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's start today's class. We're going to start on foreign trade policy and procedure. The terminology foreign trade policy and procedure, what do you all think is this topic? What is foreign trade policy?
Policies that deal with imports and exports.
Imports and exports, okay. Anything else? Anybody else? What is foreign trade policy? Who makes foreign trade policy?
The Ministry of Commerce.
Okay. And what is there in this policy? Have you all seen a foreign trade policy? No? Okay. Homework for tomorrow is you will go on the website and you will see the latest foreign trade policy that's available on the RBI website. Okay? Are you all there, people? No one's replying.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, so you all will go to the RBI website. You will see what is the foreign trade policy on their website. Okay, let's start. One second. Can anybody tell me the page number? The new syllabus?
128.
New syllabus.
Yes, ma'am. The new syllabus.
Okay.
It's lesson number 5.
Yes, I found it. Okay. Okay, let's start. Okay. Now, foreign trade policy is a policy that, as many of them said, it is for the trade, whatever imports and exports that's coming into the country. Foreign trade policy is a policy that is for that particular activity. Now, what is this foreign trade policy? It's an annual policy that has been it is renewed annually. Now, it is a procedure for imports and exports and a set of incentives for promoting exports. So if you follow the foreign trade policy, you also get incentivized. So there are certain schemes we'll see later on. If you follow those, you will get incentives as well. Now, the latest one, foreign trade policy, whatever is there, is from 2015 to 2020. Now, 2015 to 2020, you might ask me, why is, this is not the latest policy. Yes, it is not the latest policy, but this 2015 to 2020 was extended up to March 31st, 2023. So this particular policy was extended for the next 3 years. So if you look at your textbook, you will find the date March 31st, 2023. So if you look at a policy on the website, if you look for a latest policy, you're not going to find it. You will only find this 2015 to 2020 for FTP policy on the RBI website. So when you all are looking for the RBI policy, you will have to look at the 2015 to 2020. Okay, so next is now what are the main objects for these policy for the 2015-2020 policy? One, to provide a stable and sustainable policy environment for foreign trade, merchandise and services. That means it is both import as well as export, to have a stable environment for people importing and for people exporting. Now, importing is something that you're bringing foreign goods into the country, which deals with a foreign, say a country. So say we are getting items from Singapore. So from Singapore, you are getting into the country. Plus, if you're exporting, you are sending Indian made goods out of the country. So if you're sending goods to Singapore, you are making goods and you're sending it to Singapore. You're exporting the product. So you need to have a proper quality. So they have certain policies and all that to make sure all this is proper. To link rules, procedures, and incentives for exports and imports with other initiatives such as Make in India, Digital India, Skills India, to create export promotion mission for India. So basically, India right now is looking at exporting a lot of things that has been done in India. So they are promoting Make in India. So if you're going to export something that is made in India, you will get an incentive. I'm not sure if you all have seen the news. What is that one item that India has restricted exports? There is one item in the last 2 weeks, I think, that has been
Rice.
rice. Yeah. So rice has been, stopped from exporting because there are rains in India, as in the North India has got lots of rain. South India, wherever rains had to come, rains have not come. So because of that, they have stopped exporting rice. So again, that's an example of exports. So again, Make in India, all of that, they kind of have a say. And you might be thinking, how come India, is so big and they have restricted on exports? So India has just informed all the rice manufacturers saying that nothing should be exported. We will not clear anything at the customs because in India there is it works on demand and supply. So if there's extra that has been made, that's when it will be exported. So right now, because of the rain situations, they have kind of told everybody you cannot export rice. So if you look at the news, US people, say Canada and all, they were all standing in lines to buy basmati rice or regular type of rice. Okay, coming back, to promote the diversification of India's export basket by helping various sectors of the Indian economy to gain global competitiveness with a view to promoting exports. Now, again, taking the example of rice, India is supposed to be the largest exporter in rice, and that's why when India stopped, when India said they are not going to export anymore, there was a kind of a panic in throughout the world, in the other countries also. So basically, India is trying to expand itself in the world of exports, and they are trying to, they do have competition, but they're trying to what do you say, get maximum of benefit from these exports. To create an architecture for India's global trade engagement with a view of expanding its market and better integration with major regions, thereby increasing the demand for India's product contribution to the government flagship Made in India initiative. Now, which was the other item? Say recently Modi traveled to the US and he had promised a market for a particular, that this particular manufacturing can be done in India. He had mentioned. Anybody knows what it is? Nobody? So he went there, and then there was an announcement that this particular manufacturing unit will be set up in India.
Harley Davidson?
No, this is just a component. I'm talking about a component. A small component. Chips. So there was an announcement that chips will be manufactured in India. So they are working on how to, he had kind of mentioned that, they want to promote chip making in India. So again, Make in India initiative. Yes, chips for the semiconductors. Yes, all such kind of components. So he has asked them to, the US companies to come in India to, make it in India, and then so that we get employment, all of that. So again, that will be, exported out of the country. It will be made in India and exported out of the country. So again, each time he goes to another country, there is a special announcement, all of that. So it's all kind of importing, exporting, all those things will be discussed in these kind of meetings that he meets other countries. To provide mechanism for regular appraisal in order to rationalize imports and reduce the trade imbalance. Have you all heard of what do you say? What is that term? One second. Have you heard about anti-dumping?
Yes.
What is anti-dumping?
Whenever some other country is exporting at a price which is much lesser than that, to protect the domestic market, some additional duty will be imposed.
Yes. So basically, who does it the maximum for India? China. So you might have, so basically, as Mr. Shantamurthy had explained, that anti-dumping is a country that they are exporting their goods and products which has been rejected in their country, which has not been used, or it has been excessively used and it's not required anymore. So those kind of items, so India kinds they kind of restrict that particular activity. They do not want so many Chinese products. Anti-dumping, they don't want leftover Chinese product coming into the country. So that's why they add anti-dumping duties, so that whoever is trying to get those items into the country, they have to pay a little extra. So that's why if you see, there'll be a lot of say an Apple phone. So first it's launched in the US and then all other market, and then it comes to India. But right now it's coming quite after a month or so. But then there are other items, say furnitures, or automation, all of that, it would have already come into foreign countries, and then it comes into India quite later on. So again that would have been used in their country excessively, and items is brought into the country. So anti-dumping duties are kind of imposed if it is if that item is considered as an anti-dumping, if it's considered as a dumping product into the country. So they don't want to encourage importing such products. So that's why they charge anti-dumping duties. Okay, going ahead. Now, the foreign trade policy is focused on accelerating exports. Why do you think exports is important for the country? Why is exports important for the country?
Foreign
Money
income.
Money generation, and you get money how do you generate money?
By selling our products.
By selling our products, and you will receive foreign currency for the products that you've sold. So basically, say if you're getting US dollars for an item that you've exported, so you are getting foreign funding into the country, foreign currency into the country. So they want to encourage more of exports, so that people can make and export, so that the foreign currency comes into the country. Okay, then you have the so your foreign trade policy concentrates on employment creation in both manufacturing and services. Zero defect products. What are zero defect products?
Products that are not faulty.
Products that are not faulty. Yes. So basically, the foreign trade policy concentrates on whenever you are exporting anything that you've made it in India. whatever you've made, on the Indian land, whenever you're selling it abroad, whenever you're exporting that item, it has to be defect free. So zero defect products. Now, once in a while, you might have a little bit of defect, but it shouldn't impact the entire export value or export conditions drastically. A stable agricultural trade policy encouraging the import of raw materials where required and export of processed product. Rice is an example. In this case, we are exporting rice. A focus on high value addition and technology infusion. Now, if the chips are going to be manufactured in India, if India does not have the technology, you will obviously, the foreign company, whoever is investing into, say, a chip manufacturing company in India, they will obviously get their technologies. So if it is, say, a German company, or if it's a US based company, if they want to open a chip manufacturing company in, say, Bangalore, they will obviously open a manufacturing unit. Now, how are they going to add machinery? How are they going to, manufacture? All those, say, technology, knowledge, all of that is going to come from the US or from Germany. They're going to get technology into the country. So that is also an addition to the growth of the country, because you are getting technology that you don't know until this kind of activity would have been done. So it's kind of like an added encouragement for the country if you're getting technology from another country to your country. Investment in agricultural overseas to produce raw material for Indian industry. Again, if you need any agricultural help, they kind of get it from abroad. Lower tariffs on imports and raw materials. So if you're going to export any product, they're going to encourage you to, your tariffs, your taxes. Say if you're going to export that, they have certain incentives. Development of trade infrastructure and provide production and export incentives. So if you're going to send it, if you're going to export it, they are going to give you infrastructural and they're going to give you export incentive if you're going to export. Okay, so the twin objectives of the Foreign Trade Development Regulation Act of 1992 is for facilitating imports and augmenting exports from India. So basically, you are kind of creating a policy that's required if you're importing items, and when you're exporting items also, you are kind of creating an rules and regulations, how it has to be done. So all that is the objectives of this Foreign Trade Development and Regulation Act 1992. Okay, so what are the provisions that is mentioned in the Foreign Trade Development and Regulation Act is powers to make provision relating to import and exports. Central government may from time to time empower to formulate and announce by notification in the official gazette the foreign trade policy, and may also in like manner amend the policy. So basically it has to be announced in the official gazette if you are creating a trade policy. So the central government will do it. You all know what is the official gazette? Official gazette?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the official gazette? Why is the official gazette so important?
All the laws, everything will come into force only after it is published in the official gazette.
Yes. So basically, you sometimes you will find Companies Act notifications say this section has been amended, that section has been amended. It can be rumors, it can be news, it would have been discussed in the houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. But it is, you keep thinking that okay, that's going to come into effect, but how does it come into effect is if that notification, if that amendment is appearing in the official gazette. So you have a logo and it will be mentioned Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Ministry of Finance, and then there'll be a number, there'll be a code, all of that will be appearing on the amendment. So if it is a document like that, that means it is published in the official gazette and that amendment is a valid amendment. So you have to consider that amendment, whatever is there in the official gazette. So you will find mostly you will find those changes for you all for easy. If you want to check on the official gazette, you can always look at a Companies Act notification. You can see how an official gazette notification or how an effect, it will tell this amendment is effective from so and so day. So that's an official gazette. Again, the power to appoint a general director, issue of import-export code number. We will see what is an IEC code number, IEC number, suspension and cancellation of import-export code number, issue, suspension and cancellation of license, empower central government to impose quantitative restrictions, power relating to search and seizure, penalty or confiscation not to interfere with other punishment, controls on export of specified goods, services, and technology. Now, your rights will come into the last point. In case if they feel that what you are exporting or what you are importing is not it is not up to the quality, or you are importing say products from a market which is not allowed, so that time they will get punishment. So there will be penalty, they will search your parcels, all of that will happen, and there are restrictions, all of that the policy creates. Next is coverage of your foreign trade policy. Legal framework and trade facilitation, general provisions regarding to import and export, exports from India schemes, duty exemption remission schemes, export promotion schemes, export-oriented units, electronics, hardware technology parks, software technology parks, and biotechnology parks, deemed exports, quality complaints, and trade disputes. Foreign trade policy is published in 3 parts: the policy document, handbook, and ITC-HS classification. We will see what is ITC-HS, but if you look at a foreign trade policy, it will always be in 3 parts. So you have the policy document. Second, you have the handbook of procedures. That's how you have to go ahead in exporting. The entire procedure will be mentioned, and ITC-HS classification. We will see what that is. Do you all have any doubts so far? No. Okay, let's move ahead. 1 second. Okay, coming back. Okay, exports and import. Now, whatever is mentioned is there exactly in your textbooks, and it is just something that is there in the foreign trade policy. So then there's nothing that I can edit for. Exports and imports shall be free except when regulated by a way of prohibition, restriction, or exclusive trading through state trading enterprises as laid down by the Indian trade classifications of export and imports. So when they mention free, it is not the amount, it is not the taxes that you don't have to pay any taxes, it is not that free. This is you can send any type of goods abroad, you can receive any type of goods in the country. So prohibition, if you're importing say drugs, that's prohibited. So that way there are certain restrictions, but otherwise imports and exports are free. Further, there are some items which are free for export import but subject to conditions stipulated in other acts or law in time being enforced. So there might be certain items which are free, but they'll have certain conditions to it in as per the other acts. So you'll have to follow that as well. Now, we saw an terminology called ITC HS. That means it's an Indian trade classification harmonized system of exports and imports. Now, what is this? These are basically codes. So if there'll be a code, it'll help you to recognize a particular, say, any import, any item which is imported, which is exported. It'll try to recognize that. You can recognize that based on the code. Now, it is a combination of codes for all merchandises, goods for export and import. So it is given for all types. So if it's rice will have a code. If it is basmati rice, that will have a separate code. Like that, it will classify itself. So if you are exporting chips, if you are exporting valves, all that will have a separate code. Goods are classified based on their group or subgroups at 2, 4, 6, 8 digits. So there'll be 2 digits, 4 digits, 6 digits, and 8 digits for this ITC-HS code. ITC-HS is aligned at a 6-digit level with international harmonized system goods nomenclature maintained by the World Custom Organization. So basically, this is nothing but it's a recognized system all around the world. The import-export policies for all goods are indicated against each item in the ITC-HS. Schedule 1 of the ITC-HS lays down the import policy regime, while Schedule 2 details the export policy regime. So if you're importing anything, all those numbers are there in Schedule 1. If you're exporting anything, all those numbers are there in Schedule 2. Except where it is clearly specified, Schedule 1 of the ITC-HS import policy is for new goods and not for the second-hand goods. So basically, it is only for the import policy is only for the new goods and not second-hand goods. Second-hand good is if you're getting something which you have used, it becomes a second-hand good. So it is not for those goods, it's only for new goods. Any queries so far? Anybody? No, ma'am. Okay.
Ma'am, entire world will be having single rule, ma'am.
No. So this number is country to country. Country to country, they have their own system, but it is recognized throughout the world. So it is recognized by the World Customs Organization. Now, if India has a 8-digit maximum, so it is recognized. So some countries might be following the WCO's the way they kind of have ITC nomenclature. Some people might have each country might have their own, but it is recognized internationally.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Going ahead, there is an IEC code. Now, what is an IEC number? Anybody who can explain in simple terminology? Anybody who's worked on?
Ma'am, I know that it is a number. It is used from which country to import or export?
It's an import-export code. Whenever you are exporting any item, whenever you are importing any item, basically, whenever, so if your company is into imports and exports, you will need code. Now it is given per company, so every company will have, one person will have, and the company will have an IEC code. Now without an IEC number, you cannot export or import anything. You cannot take any activities without an IEC code. Now there is an application. Obtaining IEC can be done manually or submitting the form online on the office of the regional authority of DGFT, or file an application in ANF 2A format for grant of EIC. So basically you need a form that you will have to file for getting an IEC code. Those who have digital signatures, now what are digital signatures? Are you all aware of digital signatures? Have you all worked with digital signatures before? Anybody?
E-signing.
E-sign. Yes. So it is a way, it is a token where once you're studying, once you're practically, say at the time of your training, all of that, you will be aware of what is a digital signature certificate is. So it is a token that you can sign, saying you have signed this particular document at what time, what is your name, whether you have approved it. All that will be so basically you're approving the document, saying you are signing it. So this a DSC is used mainly for MCA form filing. Then you have your income tax. You have website like your DGFT website or your export websites, import requirements. All of that will use a digital signature certificate. It is mandatory. So if you get one certificate, you can use it for multiple purposes. Like if you get one, you can use it for MCA and income tax. DGFT will have a different type of DSC now. So for everything you have, you will require a digital signature certificate. So it becomes easy. You don't have to go to the office every time. You can submit it online itself. When an EIC is approved by the competent authority, applicant is informed through an email, and then a computer-generated EIC is available on the DGFT website. By clicking the application status, after having filed and submitted the requisite details, an online IEC application webpage, applicant can view and print his EIC. So basically, once it is approved, you can download your IEC certificate from the portal. Okay. Next is okay. So what are the documents that is required when you're uploading you're submitting or you're uploading your IC? So basically, if a question comes regarding what is import-export code, so you will explain it. You will explain what is import-export. Now, if the question is for 5 marks, now though they've asked what is import-export code, that is just a one-liner saying it is required for someone who is importing and exporting goods into the country. Now, that one line is not going to give you 5 marks. So you will have to remember the application form number. You will have to remember, a DSC has to be done online. Then you can download the receipt online. What documents are required to be submitted? Scan copy is required. So if you write all of these points, if you write all of these points, and then the categories, we will see the next slide is on the categories. So if you remember all of that put together, you will get guaranteed 4 to 5 marks. So remember, even though it will ask you what is import-export codes, you will have to write all this information that you have learned on this particular topic. So don't skip saying, okay, this is just list of documents, it's not required. But even if they ask you anything on IEC code, it's a small topic. So if they're giving you for 5 marks, you can't just write 1 line, 2 lines. So remember to read everything regarding IEC code. Now, the details of the entity, what are the details if you're applying for an IEC code? What is the details? PAN number is mandatory. Address proof. if you are an LLP, your LLPIN. If you're a company, your SIN and registration certificate number. You need to give bank account details and a cancel check. Now, details of the proprietors, partners, directors, CEO, or managing trustee, all of that has to be given. PAN for all categories and DIN or DPIN in case of company. What is a DIN number? Anybody is aware? DIN number?
Director identity number.
And it's given to whom?
Directors.
Can you have multiple? No, you can't have multiple. So one person will have one DIN. So anybody can apply for a DIN. You do not have to mandatorily be a director. You and I can also apply for a DIN. We can also be directors in future. So you can have the DIN now only. So that is possible. Now, details of the signatory applicant, that's whoever's using their digital signature. So the application might be, on behalf of the company. So then the managing director or any of the directors, executive directors can submit the application form, or anybody authorized to do it. Say a CFO or a company secretary can also be authorized. So whoever's signing, whoever's DSC is put on the form, their ID proof, their PAN details, and the digital photograph is required. Going ahead, no import export without an IC can be done. So they have some exempted categories where you do not require an IC number. What are those exemptions? Importers covered under by clause so and so and of the foreign trade application, blah blah blah. So basically, if you are covered under 3(1) of the clause that's mentioned in the foreign trade exemption application, that's when you do not require an IC code. Ministries and departments of central government or state government, if there is any government kind of exporting or importing goods, it's not required. Person importing or exporting for personal, not for use, not connected with any trade or manufacture or agriculture. I'll come back to that. Persons importing, exporting goods from Nepal, or to Nepal, Myanmar through the Indo-Myanmar border areas and China through these ports, provided CIF value of a single consignment does not exceed Indian 25,000. In the Nathula Pass, the applicable value exceeding 1 lakh rupees. Now, so basically, if you are importing and exporting through these particular ports, limit is 25,000, and if you're doing through the Nathula port, then the limit is 1 lakh rupees. I'm not sure if you all heard of Nathula Pass. Have you all heard of Nathula Pass?
Yes.
Yes, so that Nathula Pass is nothing but the Nathula port. So that pass is used for import exports to China also. So even you and me can go. You will have to get a permit if you want to go see the Nathula Pass. But import export also is happening through the Nathula port. Now, point number 3: person importing and exporting for personal use and not connected. Can anybody explain what does personal use means? What is personal use? And why will a person import and export for personal use?
Medical items.
Medical items, okay. Anything in general?
Their family members.
Household needs.
Family members, yes. If one family member is sending to another, yes. Anybody else?
Clothes, perfume, food items for personal use.
Food items for personal use, okay. What if you're ordering from Amazon.com? Will that be an import export or it'll be for personal use?
Import export. Business.
No, say if you order a particular item from Amazon.com, say you're ordering a particular, what do you say, a blade. No, not a blade. Say a crockery item. Say a set of spoons. And if you ordered it from Amazon.com, would that be importing? I mean, would that be importing or would it be used for a personal use?
It will be for
Personal use. Personal use.
we are buying, purchasing it from market, online market.
Online market, foreign market. So Amazon.com is a US based thing. So the item is coming from US.
Yes.
So that will also be for a personal use. So you can, sitting in India, order anything from Amazon.com also. So they will not require an IC code. Now, I'll give you an example of something that's happened to us personally. So companies usually, if you have foreign head offices, like I will mention the company's name. So VMware. So VMware's head office is in the US. So VMware, what they do is every quarter they send goods. They send goodie bags to their employees all over the world. So even in India, they send items, and it's not small items. So you have a big kind of big box that comes. You will have a T-shirt. You will have you will have a phone holder. You will have a book. You'll have, so they give it once in a quarter. They'll give one for Diwali. They'll give one for New Year. They'll give one for, if the company finishes so many years, they'll give one gift. So all that is not sent by the Indian. So many of the VMware people are working from home. So they have still not gone back to office. So these goodies parcels actually comes from the US, from the US company. So the US company packs everything and sends it to all the employees throughout the world. So recently, we got a call from FedEx. So usually FedEx is used to send international parcels and they are quite efficient. So we got a call recently from FedEx saying that you have a parcel, you will have to submit your IC code number, you will have to submit your documentations. You will have to, only then we will give you the parcel. Now, we were wondering on why they were asking us for an IEC number, they were asking us for documentation, they were asking us for a declaration, all of that they were asking. And we were wondering why. When we, contacted them, their call center again, they said that, see, if you're not going to give all these documentations, then you're going to send it back to the US. We were asking them, why is that possible? Because so many years we have received items from the US, but no, not even once they had asked us for a requirement. Then they told us on the parcel it was packed and VMware's name was there. So when VMware was sending, usually they do not kind of highlight the package saying it's VMware. So they have a small address to and from, all of that. So then, because it was on VMware packet, FedEx assumed it is being sent from one office to another VMware office for official purposes. And that's why they asked us for a letter from the HR saying you are an employee. Then they asked us for a declaration saying that you are using this for your own personal use. You are not using it for manufacturing a product in your company. So basically, sometimes what happens is samples come in. Foreign companies will send their home branch office samples of products, which is used for further checking the quality, and then you'll import a lot of products. So we had to give an HR letter. We had to give a declaration saying that it is for personal use. It is not, being used for any further manufacturing process. We also had to give your ID card saying I am an employee of VMware. It's coming to my home address, which is this. We had to give an ID proof saying this is my residential address. The parcel is coming to my residential house. It is not going to the VMware Bangalore office. We had to give the entire story. We had to write everything saying that it's a gift item that's being given for all the employees. That is one life example that we faced for importing for personal use. Now, it was not even our mistake, but we had to go through the entire pain of submitting all the documents to prove that that particular package that had reached India is for personal use. So basically, if you don't submit the documents, they will send it back to the US. So it was stuck. So you might think where it was stuck. It was stuck in customs. The customs did not clear it. So that's why FedEx was contacting us, asking us for documentations. So if we say, forget it, I don't want the gift item, just send it back, they will send it back to the US branch, head office, saying that this person refused to give the documentations. So anything you get for personal use, and anytime you get a call from FedEx saying that submit documents, just submit it. If you don't have the documents, explain it to them that it is for personal use, it is not for manufacturing process, blah blah blah. They will accept it, but you have to prove it that it is for personal use only. Otherwise, they will ask you for all manufacturing IEC code, all of that they'll ask. Okay, so that's one example that I wanted to share. One pan, there's only one IEC. If you have more than one, if any pan holder has more than IEC, the extra IECs shall be disabled. Anybody's got any doubt in IEC?
No, ma'am.
No one has any doubt?
Ma'am, fourth point, ma'am. Why only
Yes.
those particular countries, ma'am?
That's because they have, say, Nepal, Myanmar are the neighbors. One, they are neighbors. Second, you have the Indo-Myanmar or say Indo-Nepal. They have an understanding that, and first of all, their economy is less than India. So there are a lot of items that keep coming from Nepal, Myanmar. We keep sending it to Nepal and Myanmar, all of that. And if you keep adding a lot of restrictions and all that, for them it will become difficult. For us, it will become difficult. So that's why through treaties between two countries, say India, Nepal, or India, Myanmar, each time if you see, the defense minister is going, the prime minister is going to Myanmar, Nepal, they sign understandings, all of that. They sign documents, trade treaties, all of that. So based on all of that, these are the things, and even China is also there through those ports. So if you are sending anything through these particular ports, then you are exempted. And say all these ports are again, manufactured. I mean, they are kind of built from. They have an understanding with the China government, and they build those roads. They build processes. All of that they build. So it is kind of an understanding between these countries. No, you can't give it to Pakistan like that because you don't have a good relationship with Pakistan. Say Bangladesh also, we don't have that much of a comfort level or something. That's why they have not given it under the exempted category. So if you're importing and exporting to Bangladesh, you need an IEC code. So it's basically on what treaties they have signed with them.
Okay, ma'am.
Anybody else has got doubt? Okay, just another just an information. There is one road that is being constructed from India to China. Anybody is anyone's aware of that?
CPEC code?
Which one?
CPEC something.
No, I mean I'm not too sure on the name, but it is used for what? Any idea?
Trading.
No. I'll tell you what is the.
That Amarnath Yatra? Some yatra.
You're close to it, but it's not Amarnath Yatra.
Mansarovar.
Yes. So there is a road that is being built from India to China right now, and they are expected to complete the construction, I think, by October 2023, I think. So basically, this road will be used for, you won't enter China, you will not enter China, but there is a little portion in China also, but where you can see the Kailash mountain clearly. So the pilgrims do not have to go to Nepal, Tibet to view Kailash Mansarovar. From India itself, they can view Kailash Mansarovar, and they kind of minimize the trip from 25 days to, the whole trip reduces by, I think, 5-6 days. So that's a new road that is being constructed from India to China, but I don't think it's going to cross China. From there, you can see the Kailash Parvat. So again, in future, if they're going to use that road for exports, we have no idea. We'll have to see. But that's another path. So the Nathula Pass also is one pass that was constructed between India and China for Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. But they also used it for Kailash Mansarovar. They also used it as a tourism place. They had passes which were given to go and visit the Nathula Pass, and they also used it for import and export. So if you'll get a chance to see the Nathula Pass, definitely go. It's a very nice place. Okay. Moving ahead. Okay, there are some mandatory documents that are required for the export of goods from India. Bill of lading, available lorry receipt, trade receipt, postal receipt, commercial invoice, packaging list, shipping bill, bill of export, postal bill of export. So all this three is required when you're sending goods out of the country. Mandatory documents required for import of goods: bill of lading, airway bill, postal receipt in form CN22 or CN23, as the case may be, commercial invoice, packaging list, and bill of entry. Now, all this is required for importing of goods into the country. For export or import of specific goods or category of goods which are subject to any restrictions, policies, conditions, or require NOC or product specific compliances, the regulatory authority concerned may notify additional documents. So, in case of anything specific documents is required, they will notify the additional documents. In case of special case of exports or imports, the regulatory authority concerned may electronically or in writing seek additional information. So basically, your items are there at the port and they are not allowing you to come inside or go outside the country until you furnish additional documents. Okay. Any doubts? Anybody? Anyone's got any doubt?
No.
Okay. Let's move ahead. Okay. The DGFT may, through a notification, impose restrictions on export and imports necessary for 1 to J. So you have foodstuff or essential for preventing relieving critical shortages. Rice came into this category. On imports and exports necessary for an application of standards or regulations for the classification, grading, marketing commodities in international trade. So they can restrict if it is if it needs to be a particular standard. On imports on fishery products, on imports on safeguard countries' external financial position to ensure level of reserves, on imports to promote establishment of a particular industry, for preventing sudden increase in imports from causing serious injury to domestic producers. So if you're getting anything from a foreign country and it's hitting the manufacturers in India, then they can impose restrictions. for protection of public morals or maintaining peace and order, for protection of human, animal, plant life, health, relating to implantations on importations and exportations of gold or silver, necessary to secure the compliance of laws and regulations for patents, trademarks, and copyrights. Then, relating to products of labor, prison labor. So basically, you might wonder what is products of prison labor. So when people in the prison, they kind of make products. So that cannot be exported for protection of national treasure of artistry, historic and architectural value. Now they dig some land and they find old coins, so that cannot be exported. For conservation of exhaustible national resources, say if there are some resources that's on the verge of extinction, you cannot export them. For ensuring essential quantities for domestic processing industry, they will first think of the country's domestic situation and then they will think about exports. Essential to the acquisition or distribution of products in general or local short supply, any products which is short. Say at the time of COVID, there were a shortage of hand sanitizers, masks, all of that. So exports were banned for those particular items. For protection of country's essential security interest, arms, ammunition, all of that is not allowed in pursuance to countries' obligations under the UNC for maintenance of international peace and security. So if there is any items that has been restricted throughout the entire world, that you cannot import or export. Anyone's got any doubt? Anybody? Okay, now there is a concept of status holder for people who are exporting. They are called they are given categories. They have been given star. It's called star export houses. So basically, it's a status given to exporters. Now, who are these status holders? They are nobody other than the business leaders. So if you keep exporting your goods internationally, you become, and if you have excelled in the particular export, you will be given a status holder category. I mean, you will be considered as a status holder. So basically, the more you export, the more foreign currency is coming into the country. So that's the country, India, the government will recognize you. So they give you a status called status holder. Status holders are expected not only to contribute towards India's export, but also provide guidance, handholding to new entrepreneurs. So if there are new people who are coming into export category, they have to kind of handhold them also. Become a status holder by applying for a status holder certificate. You need to apply for the status holder certificate. If your application for request is approved, you shall be issued a status holder certificate. So if it's approved, you will get a state holder certificate. Now, what is the use of the state holder certificate is you have certain benefits that you get if you are a status holder. All exporters of goods, services, and technology having an importer-exporter code. So you need to have an importer-exporter code when you are applying for a status holder certificate. Status holder recognition depends on the export performance. So basically, you need to perform well, you need to get foreign currency into the country, you need to keep exporting your goods outside the country. The export performance will be counted on the basis of FOB value. What is FOB value? Anybody? What is FOB value?
Is it free on board? Is it that?
Free on board, yes. Free on board, yes. Can anybody explain in simple terms what is free on board?
The value of the goods excluding the freight, insurance.
Yes. So basically, in simple term, whatever you are exporting, those values. So that is nothing but free on board. So whatever you are exporting, it is you all when you're exporting that you get foreign currency in India, you get Indian, you get that converted to